Hey, I was doing some research today and came across this interesting study by Gong Labs. They were analyzing cold outreach emails for business development and in that sales process and seeing what's working. They actually looked at, let's see, 304,000 emails is their data set. So they looked at 304,000 emails and they looked at three specific outcomes. One is asking for a meeting from the cold email. Hey, do you want to talk about this next Tuesday at 4 p.m.? Right? So that's like an example of a CTA, right? You want to get out of that back and forth, Calendly links, assistants, etc. Trying to make it as easy as possible. Second one is just an open-ended CTA. So do you have time next week to meet? Would you like to talk about this next week or this week? Right? That's a open-ended CTA. And the third one is just for an interest. Like, are you just interested in learning more? So you're not actually asking for the meeting yet. So there's a lot of back and forth. It's not as efficient on your side. You have to manage the responses, etc. So there's two scenarios that they actually looked at these three CTAs. One is the complete cold outreach emails, and the second one is after it goes from a lead to a prospect, in deal conversations. Once you're in that conversation, same thing. How do you get them into a meeting? So here's the results. I wonder, so before we go there, for the cold outreach, which do you think would win? Specific day and time, open-ended, or just like, hey, are you interested in this thing? Here's the results. Out of 300,000 emails, the open-ended one, the specific one, did not win. Just asking if they're interested in that category, that topic, that solution, learning more. Would you just like to learn more? That almost generic CTA won 2-1. So that's really interesting to me. I would have guessed that the specific day and time would be much more productive. Anyway, so that was the winner there. And then once you go from a lead to a prospect, you're in conversation, you're getting to the deals, specifics. All the results flip. So that general interest CTA, hey, basically, hey, you want to close the deal type of email. You want to actually talk about the details. Would you like to talk? Would you be interested in, learning the terms of agreement or the SOW or whatever it is? Was not the winner. Specific day and time actually wins. So really interesting thing from Gong Labs. I personally think that this is transferable to general marketing campaigns. So if you have a webinar that's coming up. So for example, some of our friends just had a launch campaign. They offered four or five different webinar times and dates. So it's almost like, hey, here's an interest. If you're interested, here's specific days and times. I'm wondering in hindsight if it's worth the test. Instead of doing that, trying to make it more convenient for the user, if you just had pitch emails that talked about what the concept promise, the newfangled approach is, and then say, hey, would you like to learn more? Would you get a higher response from your database? And then anyone who actually responds then follow up with say, hey, here's 4 specific times and dates that you would be able to learn more about that, sign up for one of the webinar times. I think for product launches, for webinars, for all these other things, it's probably transferable, worth testing. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts.